no longer any denying that the sounds of trumpets or horns are pouring from the world's heavens. Now, there's just too much evidence. Too many news feeds, too many emergency calls, and in between scientists, geologists, and the U.S. Air Force, none can explain any of this phenomenon. Here are just a few examples from around the world. It's time to think and investigate. It is not time to ignore.
It sounds supernatural. That's a haunting sound, if we've ever heard one. One ball, no strikes. And the bunt is foul. The count is 1-1.
And what could that possibly be? Somebody shut the door.
There's been a lot of buzz over the last few weeks about strange sounds being heard in the atmosphere. People around the world and here at home have reported hearing some bizarre noises.
Some strange noises heard around the world the last few weeks has people buzzing, especially on YouTube. Clips posted from Arizona to England and right next door in Manitoba, all showing folks alarmed by what sounds like a noise straight out of a science fiction flick.
Got my rabbit standing up. Check them out. That's scary shit. Holy.
Geologists say it's not in the ground. The Air Force says it's not in the air. The astronomers say it's not from space. So we're running out of options.
Maybe it wasn't 2012, it was 2013. Fucking hell. Alright, okay. It's not an animal, is it? Hang on.
We'd like to thank you for watching one of our many Bee Sting Talk Radio videos. If you've enjoyed the video, please take a second, click the subscribe button, and give it a thumbs up. It really does help our channel circulate this vital message. If you'd like to see more videos, click the channel button. There you'll find all of our contacts from Facebook to Twitter and our main website, where a host of goodies are offered, from contests with prizes, our blogs, to our famous ironic SOB awards, and more at BeeStingTalkRadio.com.
Hi, Gary Stearman. It's time for another Prophecy in the News Daily Update, May 25th, Friday, going into the Memorial Day weekend. And in studio with me, Bob Ulrich. Hi, Bob.
Good to be here, Gary.
It is good to be here. And today we've got something exciting to share with you from the latest Prophecy in the News magazine. This is the June 2012 issue. And you can see the title, Sounds Out of Heaven. And I have written about a phenomenon, Bob, that has plagued people really since last August. About August of 2011, in Kiev, Ukraine, they began to hear trumpets in the sky. And I mean in the sky. People were going outdoors and looking up into either a clear or a cloudy sky and hearing choruses of trumpets. Big trumpet sounds, sometimes in unison, sometimes in harmony, but the most baleful, mournful trumpeting you can imagine. And they would run in and get their video cameras and take sound recordings of these trumpets. That happened August the 11th of 2011, and then just a few days later in Tampa, Florida, during a baseball game of all things. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, it's actually was recorded on the Watchers 3 DVD that L.A. Marzulli did, and it is really spooky to sit there and listen to it, and listen to the announcers talking about it, and see the looks on the faces of the people in the stadium down in Tampa. I mean, they're just stunned. Like, what is that?
And the announcers are stunned, and they are listening to this very same trumpeting sound in a dome stadium. A lot of people try to explain it away as the wind blowing through the dome in a certain way, but it was trumpeting. Everybody heard it. Baseball players standing in the field were looking up like this and wondering, what in the world is that?
Gary, that's just one or two incidences.
Oh, yeah.
These are taking place all over the world, all over Europe and Germany and Russia, in Los Angeles and Topeka, Kansas. I mean, everywhere you turn. In fact, all you've got to do is go to YouTube, and type in, strange sounds in the earth and the heavens. And so people have been asking for the last year, looking for answers. When is Gary going to talk about this? So finally they've got their wish. You've written about it in the June issue.
And Bob, doing some Bible research, I discovered there is Bible precedent for this. In other words, there are places in the Bible where the characters in the Bible hear sounds over their heads, in the air. The most well-known, of course, is the trumpet of God at the giving of the law in Exodus. We have this is the first trumpet in the whole Bible, by the way, that's mentioned as such, and it's Exodus 19, verse 16. It came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceedingly loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. So the same thing happened then as is happening now. People are scared to death. They're thinking apocalyptic thoughts when they hear these trumpets.
Well, that day may have been a little different, because we know that God actually descended on Mount Oreb and met with Moses and gave him the Ten Commandments.
Right.
And the people down in the encampment down below, literally, the Bible says they were exceedingly fearful and terrified, and they kept hearing a sound like a trumpet. And of course, we know that was the voice of God.
The voice of God. And the whole idea of trumpets being associated with judgment, that's a Rosh Hashanah idea. The Tishri 1, what happens in the average Jewish synagogue? They blow the trumpets. And why do they? Because they say judgment is near. And so they blow that trumpet, reminding people that the judgment of God could happen at any moment.
Now, Gary, it's not just trumpet sounds, is it?
No, it's not. There have been crashes and bangs and the sounds of breaking glass and cars colliding head on, and the one I like, Clintonville, Wisconsin. For 3 days, this is a little town in central part of Wisconsin, and for 3 days and 3 nights they heard assorted crashes, bangs, and booms. One man in Clintonville with his wife in their living room described the sound as 2 locomotives crashing head on, complete with broken glass and broken and grinding metal, the sounds of crashes.
You said Clintonville? That wasn't Bill and Hillary having a fight, was it?
I don't think so. Clintonville, Wisconsin. And so all of the municipal authorities, sewer, water, electricity, everybody was out checking systems to see if there'd been an explosion. There were no explosions. Nothing that anyone could find, and people would hear these massive, massive sounds, rush outside their houses. There was nothing out of the ordinary.
And they're not showing up on seismographs.
No, they're not.
I want to read a little passage here out of 1 Chronicles 14. It's a story of David and a victory he had over the Philistines. And the Bible says, "And the Philistines yet again spread themselves abroad in the valley. Therefore David inquired again of God, and God said unto him, Go not up after them, turn away from them, and come upon them over against the mulberry trees. And it shall be, when thou shalt hear a sound of going in the tops of the mulberry trees, that then thou shalt go to battle, for God has gone forth before thee to smite the host of the Philistines." Now, when I read that earlier today, I asked you about that little phrase and what that actually says in the Hebrew. When thou shalt hear a sound of going. Mm-hmm. What does that actually, how do you translate that in the Hebrew language?
Yeah, it's the verb going there is a very, very common Hebrew verb for marching. The sound that armies make when they march, like tramp, 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 like 1,000 feet in unison. That's the sound of going that was heard above the tops of the mulberry trees. Wow, that had to be angels.
Well, we got trumpets, we've got marching, and of course we know who marches. That's soldiers.
Yeah.
When Doug Hamp was here a few weeks ago, he and I had a really fascinating conversation about the thin veil that separates heaven and earth.
Right.
And as we sit here and hear these things and see these signs and know that there's history behind some of these things in the Bible and some of these strange paranormal events, and we're going to talk about Josephus in a minute, but Doug said he believes that that line between heaven and earth is so thin that perhaps what we're hearing right now are those sounds of battle about to happen. Is something big on the horizon?
There could be, and this has been the reaction of the people who heard these sounds. I look back to one incident in which an audio engineer actually heard the sounds of what he described as 5 or 6 trumpets playing in harmony. And being an audio engineer, he analyzed the sounds, and to him, they sounded like legitimate trumpets, and he remarked that he had never been so frightened in all his life, and all he could think of were thoughts of Judgment Day and the apocalypse. And maybe we are nearing Judgment Day. What do you think?
Judgment Day and the apocalypse. I mean, there's a foreboding couple of phrases there. But, these are unsaved people who are thinking those things. It must be very unsettling to hear a sound that there's no explanation for. Kind of like having an earthquake, having the ground shake under your feet and realizing that I'm not in control of this world or even my life.
Well, I have here the L.A. Marzulli Watchers series, Watchers 1, 2, and 3. And in Watchers 3, L.A. has actually included that incident in Tampa, so you can hear the trumpet yourself. In fact, we're offering the Watchers Trilogy package, Watchers 1, 2, and 3, plus the Alien Agenda, a DVD with conversation between L.A., myself, and Tom Horn. And this is a terrific value, along with a subscription to Prophecy in the News magazine for 1 year. This is about $120 value. Yours for what, Bob?
$59.95. It may be the greatest offer in the history of Prophecy in the News. We have had so many people get these DVDs, which are just filled with the signs of the times.
Oh, yeah. Great reaction to these DVDs. The Watchers Trilogy, plus the bonus DVD, plus the magazine subscription for 1 year. Just ask for the Watchers Trilogy package when you call 1-800-475-1111. And we will send it to you very, very quickly. That's the Watchers Trilogy package. Big things happening these days, Bob.
Well, there are big things happening around, the same big things that happened right before 70 AD that Josephus recorded. We're going to come back and do another program on that.
We'll have to do that. Gary Stearman along with Bob Ulrich. And we're reminding you, of course, to keep looking up.
I don't know if this is picking up the sound. With all the boogeyman stories of unexplained sounds, what I believe they're doing is they're testing a high frequency sound to subconsciously get people into something. I'll let this run for a little bit and listen. It's been like that for about an hour. It's 11:10 a.m. right now. Tuesday, whatever. '15, '16, '17, whatever Tuesday is in May 2015. You hear that sound? It's not space aliens. If anything, if you want to say space, the spraying they've done in the skies, as you can see up there is another faint spray trail all the way down that way. They put this stuff in the atmosphere for a reason. It's not up there just accidentally, and not an accident either. You can hear that sound if you sit and listen to it. But if you subconsciously, while you're doing things, you don't pay no attention to it, you can still hear it and you don't even realize it. I don't know if this is coming out on the video camera. It's similar to when was it War of the World, the first one. The background noise from the UFOs. Again, this is all bullshit. If they say that's what it is, it's bullshit. This is government. This is man-made. My wife said something about it last night. You could hear a little bit for a while and it stopped. But it's been like this all morning, and I figure I'm going to try to get it on video. My laptop has been uploading updates for like 3 hours, 4 hours, and I shut it off, turn it back on, and the sucker's done. Isn't that amazing? See, I hear the plane up in the sky. Look, there's no white trail coming out behind its tail. How is it staying up in the air? I don't understand. Yeah. All right, bird, you can stop right now. Well, again, I don't know if it's coming out. In the background, you should hear it. But my educated guess, and it is just a guess, it's government doing something. Putting out a frequency like this for people to hear it subconsciously when they're not paying attention. There's a reason for it, trust me. It's not an accident. It's not no damn alien bullshit either. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for now.
And again, you can hear the strange sound. Very clearly today. We don't know where the sound comes from, but it's stressing, and it's our garden lamps. And the moon is up here. But I leave my camp here on the tripod, and then we can hear the sound again.